Kia ora koutou, hello and welcome. My name is Mai Al Sharaf and I'm one of the international managers here at Waipapa Taumata Row, the University of Auckland. With me today, we have two of our current students, Samantha and Nadine, and our alumnus, Adi. They'll be sharing a little about what student life is like at the university. If you have any questions for our panelists, please pop them into the chat and we'll answer as many of them as we can. We'll kick off with Samantha. Samantha, hello and welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Can you tell us a little about where you're from and what inspired you to study at the University of Auckland?
Well, I'm from Malaysia and I'm currently studying a Bachelor of Education in Early Childhood Studies. And I chose to study at University of Auckland because after doing extensive research, I felt that the University of Auckland was what had the most to offer me in terms of like academic-wise and also in terms of future pathways. And from what I saw on social media, I felt like it also had a wide range of social activities that I could participate in and like meet a lots of friends and new people. So that was really appealing to me. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Nadine. I'm from Jakarta, Indonesia. And what inspires me the most to go in the University of Auckland is that the university provides a range of programs that interest me the most, in which I am most interested in design. It is what I'm passionate at. However, before enrolling in my bachelor's degree, I'm actually unsure of what I'm passionate in. But since the university provides lots of programs, I'm able to choose and find what I'm most interested in.
Hi, Mai. My name's Aditya Rudrakar. Thanks for having me here today. You can call me Adi. I'm originally from Pune, India, and I've done my bachelor's in mechanical engineering from the University of Pune. I chose Auckland University primarily because of 4 reasons. My bachelor's project, my thesis, was essentially related to wind engineering. And Auckland University, the Newmarket campus, has a massive wind tunnel, which kind of worked perfectly fine for me. The second reason why I chose Auckland University was Auckland University was in the top 100 in the world in the Times QS and the world rankings. Third reason was Auckland is an incredibly diverse community and it's one of the best cities to come to New Zealand. And lastly, being a big fan of the Lord of the Rings, there was obviously no other way to go. So.
Yeah, thank you for that. And so could you share a little idea about your impression when you first landed in Auckland?
I distinctly remember I landed in the middle of the night around 1 a.m. Auckland University had arranged for a driver to pick me up and drop me at one of the Airbnbs. And I had a good chat with the driver on the way down into town, and he suggested a few places that I should go and check out, namely the Viaduct. There was Devonport, there was the Rangitoto Island, which I had no idea was an extant volcano, which I felt was pretty incredible at that time. The next couple of days, it took me about a week or so to get adjusted to the weather, the climate, and then I kind of made my way around the city to explore the place and explore the university as well.
Yeah. What about you, Nadine? What was that first impression like?
Honestly speaking, since I come from a big city, it was quite similar to where I am from. So it was quick for me to adjust to the surroundings. However, the weather was something different. It's really, sometimes it's sunny and then it rains. It's quite confusing. But overall, I went here with my parents and I had loads of time to explore around the city and find interesting places that I often visit now.
Yeah, have you adjusted to the 4 seasons a day climate?
Honestly speaking, I am still a bit kind of baffled about the weather, about the seasons, but I'm slowly adjusting to it.
And what about you, Samantha?
Oh, well, my first impression of Auckland when I first came was a few years back when I came on vacation with my family, and that was during summer. So very much blue skies, warm weather, but cool wind, and it was perfect. And I think that vacation single-handedly convinced me I'm gonna move here and I'm gonna live here next time permanently. But when I flew here for my degree, I believe last year, July. It was at the beginning of winter or like midwinter, and I arrived at like the dead of night, 10 p.m. It was dark and cold and raining, so like a bit of a difference from what I first experienced. But the flip side of that was the warmth of just Aucklanders and New Zealanders in general. Like the immigration officer who helped check my bags was incredibly helpful. Even the people on the flight who helped lift my luggage up into the overhead cabin, it was just like all super like comforting, and it was a great relief for me because I was traveling alone. And yeah, it definitely helped me like settle into my new environment a lot. So I have like Auckland people to thank for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so being part of the University of Auckland, you're based in the heart of the city. No matter if you're studying engineering and you're based in Newmarket, or education, you're a bit up the road in Epsom. Can you tell me a little about your experience of exploring Auckland City? What are your favorite spots?
Do you want to go first, Samantha?
Yeah, I could go first. So currently education and social work students are all based out of Epsom, but there are plans for us to move to city campus next year, which is really exciting. I just saw the new building, like I believe yesterday, without the scaffolding, and it looks great, so I can't wait. But yeah, other than that, the city has been really great to explore as well. Everything is surprisingly accessible, like either by bus or just walking. I've definitely found myself walking a lot more than I would back home. Like I've walked half an hour straight just because we were like, why not? And it's like really straightforward anyway. But yeah, the city has been great to explore. I haven't fully gotten the chance to like explore everything because I've been a bit busy, but I feel like everywhere I go, there's something new to see. There's something interesting going on, and that's been really great to experience as like an international student. Yeah.
Truthfully speaking, I have yet explored Auckland City a lot, but one of my favorite spots to go to that I often visit is Mission Bay. I enjoy seeing the sunset at the beach and the breeze just kissing my face. It's not really a breeze, it's really strong winds usually. But I've also visited Devonport using the ferry. It's a really beautiful place to go to. I climbed up a mountain, but I forgot what mountain was it.
Victoria.
I think at Mount Victoria. The view there was amazing. I could see the whole city, and the sunset was also beautiful. I feel that's similar to Samantha. There are lots of places to go to in Auckland City and lots of new places to visit, and probably could become one of your favorite spots to go back to.
For me personally, studying at university, I did spend a lot of time in the city centre, but also I like to explore. Being an avid hiker, I like to travel a lot and explore the regional parks that are around the place. One of my first hikes was Rangitoto Island, which was 4 days after landing into the city, and it was incredible. Like, it took me about 2.5 hours to get on top, but the views were spectacular. So that's a must do if you come to Auckland. The other couple of places that I absolutely love would be the beaches on the North Shore. You can go to Takapuna, you can go to Milford, you can go to Long Bay, you can go to Mairangi Bay, Browns Bay. There's just bays all over. And all of them are about a 10-minute bus ride from the first place.
Yeah.
So in terms of accessibility, as a student, it's not essential that you need to own a vehicle. You can take the bus, and the buses will actually drop you right in the heart of the regional parks. And you can spend your entire day out there.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much. And so we have a very important question from the audience. We'll have to read this one out. What is your favorite food in Auckland City? So from my perspective, I would love to hear what your experience has been like and what your expectation was before coming to New Zealand, what the food was going to be like.
Should I start? Yeah. From back home in Malaysia, we have a sort of stereotypical view of what's considered Western food. So like steaks, fish and chips, pasta, spaghetti, that kind of thing. And I was a little worried when I first came. I was like, there might not be that much of an option, like in terms of food. I was like, what if I get sick of bread and spaghetti so quickly? But after moving here, I feel like I've discovered that there's a super wide range of food, and like not just in terms of Western food, like just Asian food, like Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese food, which is some of my favorite cuisines. So I feel like there's something for everyone, anyone. And I feel like every day or every week I'm discovering that there's a new restaurant or cafe that looks interesting and I want to go to. So yeah, unlimited options.
For me as well, personally, I was certain about the melting pot of diversity that Auckland is. So in terms of expectation and availability of food, I was certain there would be several options, and it definitely did not disappoint. Like any suburb you go to, you're going to have several options. You can choose from Asian food, Japanese, you can choose Italian, you can choose steaks, just on your own preference. One of my favorite cuisines is Malaysian food, actually.
Yes.
And I found a spectacular place called Uncle Mounds, which is based
Verified.
about 10 minutes walking distance from university. So it was really awesome.
I actually totally agree with you, Samantha, about the Western food. Before coming to Auckland, I was actually a bit worried as well. What if I get tired of eating pasta and bread, because I don't really like eating sandwiches. But coming here, I was shocked with about the various food options here. Korean, Japanese, Vietnamese, there are so many, but I often come back to Indonesian food so I could be closer to home. One of my favorite restaurants is called Raos. I think it's at Dominion Road. Amazing food.
Thank you all. It's really good that you all highlighted this in your answer, that Auckland as a city is very multicultural and diverse, not just in its people, but also in the cuisines and the food options that we have here. So I want to hear from you, Adi. How was it adapting to a new culture?
I'd say my first experience with the Maori culture was at the university orientation, where we had the pōwhiri, which is the Maori welcome to welcome new people into the country and into the marae. That performance was something that still stands with me to today, and each time I think about it, it motivates me to do better. Another thing in terms of culture was embracing rugby, which is at the heart of literally everything that the Kiwis do. And I started that off by joining the Auckland University Rugby Club, which is based at uni, and I joined several other students' associations and things. But what I discovered was there's nothing that brings Kiwis together like rugby. So for me, it was just that immerse myself into sport, and definitely everyone likes to have a yarn and the love for coffee. So a lot of people cannot actually start their day without coffee. So if you ever want to have a chat with anyone, just catch hold of them, go for a coffee.
Yeah.
They're going to love it.
And Samantha, you've had experience with the Maori culture when you first arrived. Can you share a little about that?
Yes, so because I'm studying early childhood studies, we do have to learn about biculturalism, which is really big. And I can see why, because biculturalism is really important to New Zealand culture as a whole. So not only do we learn about Maori culture through our studies, there are, like for example, there are courses in early childhood degree where we learned the Maori language and we were taught about the culture and stuff to look out for, and also Maori culture in the context of education. But also there are several ceremonies, especially during orientation, where we get to see certain examples of Maori culture, such as the pōwhiri. And at Epsom campus, we have what's it called? The house? I forgot.
Marae.
Yes, at the Marae. Yeah, we have a Marae at Epsom campus as well. Yeah, and so getting to tour the Marae and having someone explain to us in detail about Maori culture, and it's someone who actually is Maori and knows what they're talking about, was really an eye-opening experience, and it was really great to experience that. Yeah.
What about you, Nadine? Have you had exposure to the Maori culture since you've been here?
I did not attend the events as Samantha did, but I enrolled in several classes that immersed myself into the culture. And I've learned lots of different stories in the Maori culture, their language and terms and events, which is amazing. And I found out that our language is a bit similar, and like there's some vocabularies that are similar to Indonesian, which I find very interesting.
Yeah.
Can I add on to one more thing? So in terms of the Maori culture, or even the local New Zealand culture, I'm sure a lot of international students would have this question as to how do I become friends with locals? How do I kind of get the whole experience of university? And my suggestion for them, for a lot of the international students, would be you have to go there and try and immerse yourself entirely. Like, you have to be open to going up and talking to people. It's like you have a friend group, and if there's someone from outside, if they want to be a part of that friend group, you have to make that effort to go and talk. So it's just that extra bit of effort that you need to put in, and that definitely helped me a lot, because I did become friends with quite a few local students who were there, and all of them lovely people. And one of them actually even managed to teach me the haka, the kamate haka. So
Beautiful.
that's a good job.
That's a very important point. How did you guys make friends when you got to Auckland, Samantha and Nadine?
Honestly speaking, I am a shy person. I come off as really quiet to new people, but I try my best to put myself out there and just approach people and say hi and talk to them, especially in lecture, because I feel like it's important to find a friend in every course you attend to, so you have someone to study with you or just keep tabs if you're not there. So I would just suggest to new students just to put yourself out there and just don't be afraid to say hi, because everyone's welcoming here.
Yeah, I will say outside of class, I joined several clubs and societies. So I've joined Kiwi Asian Club, and recently I've joined the Japanese Auckland Club as well. I believe it's called Jam Plus.
Oh, me too.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we should go to a meeting.
Yeah, we should.
Okay, yeah, we should go to a meeting together. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, just like those clubs, they're really huge and there's a lot of people in there, and I haven't had a problem like fitting in. The club executives have been so nice and welcoming. Like, I believe the first time I went to an event, I was sitting alone because I didn't know anyone, and people like came up to me and sat down next to me, and they were so friendly and asked like, "Hi, what's your name? What are you doing?" and stuff like that. So clubs and societies have been really great for making friends. And yeah, like there's also a huge amount of clubs at Uni of Auckland. Like, there's so many to choose from. There's definitely going to be one, at least one, that fits your interests. Yeah.
If there's one thing as an international student you don't want to miss, is orientation week. Because there's just so many activities that are ongoing at that point of time, and you can literally make friends with all over the world. Like, there's students who are from all different parts, everyone's in the same boat, just arrived in the country, trying to understand what's going on. So definitely give it a chance. Go attend orientation week, attend club expos. And I think the university has a couple of other resources as well, like the Auckland University Students Association. Like, they do this thing called as a buddy program, where they pair you up with an existing student who will help you settle into the country and get you adjusted to the culture and other questions and things that you have. There was also another thing for a lot of people coming from the subcontinent, as well as from Asia, maybe the accent can get a little weird. So there was this thing called as Talk to Kiwis, which was being held every week in one of the buildings, and everyone was invited to come down to, and it was mostly older people who just wanted someone to talk to, and it gives you a great opportunity to understand the language, get used to the accent, get used to the slang words. It definitely helps settling into the place.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And Club Expo, like you mentioned, what other clubs other than the Japanese Auckland meetup did you join, Nadine?
I joined the K-pop club because I am interested in it, and similar to Samantha, I was alone and I had no friends there. I remember clearly that during the first meeting we were at the student quads and I was sitting alone at one table and then I saw different people just together and I got so overwhelmed and scared. I texted my friend, I'm alone, what should I do? But I gathered the courage to talk to different people on the table, and they were also welcoming. And until now, we're a big group of good friends, so it's amazing.
What about you, Adu? Out of all the clubs, what did you join?
It was, I did, well, I honestly, I think I did a lot more co-curriculars as compared to studies, honestly. I joined, there was the International Students Association Auckland. I joined that. I joined the Auckland University Rugby Club. I joined the Auckland University Muay Thai Club. Then there was the Engineering Postgrad Students Club, which I also was a part of. There was OSA, for which I later on became the coordinator for the buddy program as well. I did the same thing for the engineering bit. It's just so many of them. And the good part was you could always, being a part of the club or part of any club, you can always have these co-joint activities with other clubs. So I spend a lot of time at uni doing heaps of co-curricular activities as compared to studies.
There is a lot of options out there, and
so
it's
many.
great to hear that you've all experienced and gotten yourself out of your comfort zone to join as many of the clubs and student associations as possible. So with that in mind, could you tell us, if you could describe your student life experience in 3 words, what would they be?
I can go.
Yeah?
So it was fun. Every day it was a blast. Like you could wake up with a challenge, but at the end of the day, there was always things to do. Second, it was knowledgeable, where you picked up a lot of information from people from different backgrounds, different countries. Being a master's student, I had people in my class who were just straight out of university, graduates, as well as someone with 15 years of experience. So it's first-hand exposure to how things work in the real industry. And the third thing would be, it was different compared to studying back home, or compared to even what I speak to my friends regarding studies in the States. The culture in New Zealand is quite different. People are a lot more welcoming, and they want you to be there. They want you to have fun. They want you to actually be a part of the country, of the culture, of the university.
I would want to say crazy, 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 but in a good way. But in 3 words, I would say crazy, because it's been a whirlwind of a ride. There's so many stuff going on in a good way. I exposed myself to the world. I made friends with different people from different countries. And the other word I would say is nurturing. Being here alone have greatly matured me as a person, and I can do lots of things on my own that I wouldn't have done back at home. And the last word I would say would be fun. Despite uni work being very overwhelming at times, but I take lots of fun in my projects, in my degree. I will always try to find the good side when doing my work, since it could be difficult and challenging. And just thinking of the positive side and try to make it fun makes it easier for me to go through all my assignments.
I think adding on to that, my first word would be growth, because as an international student who came here alone, you are sort of like forced out of your comfort zone. Like there is nowhere else to go. So I definitely have grown up a lot since I left Malaysia. Definitely had to deal with a lot more adult responsibilities, such as not even just juggling studies and work, but also I had to find a new place to rent, so bills, stuff like that, just general adult stuff. And I think that ties into my second word would be learning. Like not just in terms of learning in an academic sense, but also learning more about myself, how to take care of my mental health and mental well-being while being here, and also just learning about everyone else as well, not just in like the general sense, but like about the world and how people work and how I intersect with other people and their lives. And my last word would be new, because I am in a new country, I am in a new environment, but every day there is something new for me to experience, not just meeting new people as well, just being here as well. This is a very new experience for me, and it's been great. Like there is always something new to look forward to, and yeah, that has been one of the things to look forward to as an international student. Yeah.
I'd like to add on one more thing to what you said. So you mentioned the renting bit, right? So as an international student, when you come into the country, you're searching for a place to stay, and there's several resources available at university. Like they have this during all week as well. They have this renting expo kind of thing where you can actually go with people who are searching for houses, and you can literally find roommates. I think it's called Find a Roommate, literally.
Yeah.
So I think there's something that I
And also before I rented an apartment, I stayed in Uniacom for one semester. I stayed in specifically Tetirohanga, which is down Simon Street, and that was also a great experience. It's a very how do you say? It's a good starter for anyone who's just moving out of the house, because I've never lived on my own before that. And also living in Uniacom, one of the benefits is you're surrounded by students, and it's super easy to meet people in the kitchens, in the common rooms, and Uniacom all have like super great facilities for you to use, and usually for free as well. So yeah, definitely take advantage of that if you're an international student.
Yeah, absolutely agree with what you said.
Yeah.
Because I myself lived in Uni Lodge for a year, and the same experience. Like there were a lot of students who were straight coming for the first time, staying away from home, staying away from parents, and for them, I think the university accommodation is a good way to gently ease yourself into doing things by yourself.
Yeah.
Because honestly, as an undergrad, first time away from home, you're not really used to doing a lot of things by yourself. So
living on campus and having the support of the accommodation services is fantastic as you're transitioning to, maybe living with flatmates or living on your own after that. Adi, the audience want to know, what was your journey like when finding a job after completing?
So I graduated September 2019, which was, I'd say, luckily just before the pandemic. Fingers crossed. But it was even prior to that. I did do a lot of co-curricular activities while at uni. Uni has several services, primarily called the Center for Development
Career Development and Employment
CDES, the CDES, which was quite helpful. They had these seminars and they had these kind of workshops where they introduce you to how different it is to finding a job in New Zealand as compared to a lot of countries. There's a lot of emphasis based on your nature, how well you work with people, how your references are quite integral, and how do you make references first and foremost. Coming from the subcontinent, from India, we have a very different way of how you search for jobs, but it was completely different out here. My journey for job hunting has essentially been coffee chats. I reached out to people on LinkedIn, emailed them quite shamelessly, to be honest, and asked them if I could meet for just a coffee chat, just so that they could give some suggestions. There was another thing called the Workplace Insights program, which was run by CDES, and it basically pairs you up with a former alumni, and it gives you the opportunity as a student to ask them questions and just get to know the industry as it works. So I'd say that entire process from during uni to finding an internship or to networking out, I'd say it is time consuming, and it pushes you out of your comfort zone if you're an international student, but there are several resources that are available at university to help you out, and I'd say the most important resource would be your professors. So build connections.
Connecting with people. That's a very important point, right? Connecting, networking with other people, whether it's industry through the Works Insights program or your professors during your program.
Yes.
Thank you, Adi, and it's so wonderful to see and hear from you, your journey in finding your current job. And so to wrap up, I'd love for you guys to give one piece of advice to our audience. So Samantha, what would your one piece of advice be?
It was something, I'm just piggybacking off of what I did say earlier, which is putting yourself out there, and just even I was a very shy person when I first came, but now I've learned the value of just putting yourself out there, going up to people and asking for help, or just talking to them in general. I haven't had one bad experience with where I went up to someone and asked for help and I got turned away or rejected. So yeah, just putting yourself out there, whether it be in terms of asking a professor for help, or going to a club alone and trying to talk to people and make friends, or just even a stranger on the street if you're lost. There is value in asking and pushing yourself out of that comfort zone and being brave to ask. But I will also mention that I have the privilege of being fluent in English, so there is less of a language barrier. But I think, honestly, for international students who might be worried about that, as mentioned before, Auckland is such a diverse and multicultural society. Even if you're not that fluent in English, you will definitely meet people who are in the same position as you or similar position, who will accompany you and help you as you grow and develop your language skills, which is great. Yeah.
Similar to Samantha, one advice I would say is to come out of your comfort zone, as I'm also a really shy person. When I first came here, I was so scared to talk to people. I don't know why, but as time goes on, I've adjusted and I learned that there's no harm and it's not wrong to ask people. Even if you get rejected or they don't reply, it's okay. We don't know them, they're strangers. and I would say just don't be scared to ask and just come out of your comfort zone. It's really important, I would say.
For me, I think there's two things. I would like to add on to your point of the language barrier. Working in the industry, actively working in the industry, honestly, what I've seen is people in fact encourage you to speak more freely if your English is not that good. That's because I think everyone is aware that if your English is not that good, that means you're fluent in another language, which I suspect there's several people who are going to be there. So never shy away from speaking, just getting out there. And in terms of personal advice from me to potential international students will be, before you come to the university, try and connect with students or former alumni who have studied the course. There's LinkedIn, there's alumni pages on Facebook, there's other social media that's available. Connect with them, talk to them firsthand regarding the course, the good parts of the course, the not so great parts of the course. How can you do better? How well can the university help you? There's just so much that you can learn from just a quick message for someone who's already studied the course. And I'm sure that people will openly give advice
Absolutely.
on why you should do it.
Yeah, and we also have the TAP Ambassador program where international students can connect
Oh, that's
with current international students to ask any questions that they might have.
Wow.
Thank you, Adi, and thank you,
Incredible.
Nadine and Samantha. Thank you all for your time today, for sharing your perspective, your personal stories. I'm sure the audience have gained invaluable insights from you all. So thank you once again.
Thank you for having us.
Could I add on one more thing? There's just something I'd like to say to international students. Being a former international student and a current resident of the country, having immersed myself into the entire Kiwi way of life and making several friends, going through the entire process, there's this thing that I kind of came up with, where at the end of the first year, you understand whether you're made for the country, whether you can adjust to the country, whether you can be comfortable, whether you're going to be homesick or not. At the end of year 2, you understand whether the country is made for you, because you spent a lot more time there. You understand how the people are, how the place is, whether you can adjust to the climate, the place there overall. And then at the end of 4 years, you can decide to make the country your home or not. And if you make it your home, then you're obviously going to have a spectacular time out here.
So Nadine, we'd love to hear more about the Bachelor of Design. Can you tell us what your favorite class has been this year and why?
To start off, I would say the Bachelor of Design is a pretty laid-back program. I feel that everyone is inviting and welcoming and friendly in all of my courses. And my favorite class this year, specifically last semester, is Design 210. I think it's about design indigeneity and place. I specifically enjoy that class because my lecturers are all very welcoming. They make the class as if it's a homely space that I could open up about my culture, about my feelings, that I could express myself in that class. And additionally, apart from getting my knowledge about design, I am taught to be closer to my heritage, which is very dear to me. And I feel that it helped me appreciate my Indonesian culture even more. And that is why I really enjoy that class.
Yeah. And for you, Samantha, in the Bachelor of Education, majoring in early childhood studies, can you tell us what that program is like?
Well, as Nadine sort of mentioned earlier, there's that element of constantly reflecting on your own background and cultural background, because within the context of early childhood education, as aspiring teachers, our professors constantly ask us to reflect on where we come from, our ambitions, and there is a lot of critical self-reflection that goes into early childhood studies. So there's definitely been a lot of self-revelations that have come out of studying early childhood education. But overall, it's been great. My classmates have all been great. It is quite a small class, and we're all quite tight-knit. My professors have all been nothing but helpful with any concern or question that I have. And this year specifically, this semester specifically, my classes have been delving more into the psychological aspect of education, which has been really interesting for me personally, because that was what sort of pushed me to study early childhood studies in the first place. I've always been interested in children and learning more about children and their psychology, as well as psychology within the context of education. So that has been really great and really enlightening this semester for me, even though assignments are a bit challenging, but that's what classmates are for. Yeah.
That wraps up our discussion today. Thank you all so very much for sharing your personal stories and experiences with our prospective students. Thank you all for tuning in. If you have any more questions about studying at the University of Auckland, please feel free to reach out to us in the chat or via email.